we'll go ahead and bring this meeting to order tonight. Councilman Box, if you would please.
Sure. Thank you. Almighty Creator, we thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to come before you. We come humbly in ourselves, but exalted in you and confident in your wisdom and grace. Lord, help us to access that tonight, do the things that you would have us to do. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for everyone joining us tonight. With the governor's order being in place the way it is, there's a lot of things that she put in place. But one of the things that the governor put in place is we will now be accepting comments again from our outside areas, since we can do that virtually now. So we'll kind of restart the comments from the virtual area. That being said, call to order. Councilman London.
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar.
Here.
Councilman Box.
I'm present.
Councilman Sims. And myself present as well. Now we have two sets of minutes to approve. We have the August 4th work session minutes, and then we also have the August 4th actual council minutes. So that being said, it's listed as one item, but we should probably take them separately. Can I get a motion for the work session minutes from August the 4th?
I make a motion that we approve the work session from August the 4th, 2021.
We have a
Second.
motion? We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Fair enough. And can we get a motion for the approval of the council meeting from August 4th?
I make a motion that we approve the council meeting minutes for August 4th as amended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we come to the bills. Can we go ahead and can we get a motion for the approval of the current bills for payment?
I make a motion that we pay the bills in the amount of $222,000, $77.15.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Bills. At this time, we'd be looking for any professional and/or consultant reports to the council. Okay. That being said, Mayor Stewart, would you like to give us your report, sir?
Thank you, Council President Spivey. I'm going to be very brief tonight. I have two guests that I'm going to allow to speak during my time. We have Ms. Russia Smith with us here from the Freshwater Land Trust, and we have Dr. Gonsolin here from the Jefferson County School System. He's the superintendent, and he's going to give us an update on what's going on this school year. So I'm going to ask Dr. Gonsolin if he would go first once I finish my report, and then Russia, you can give your presentation to the council once he's completed sharing his information with the audience. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is on last Thursday, the census count came out for the city of Irondale. We currently have 13,497 citizens in 2020 compared to 12,349 citizens in 2010. That's an increase in population of 9.3%, and Irondale now is the 55th largest city in the state of Alabama. On tomorrow morning, we're having our monthly mayor's prayer meeting at Church of the Highlands. The prayer meeting will start at 9 o'clock. It is open to the public. Breakfast is being served, and we would love to see you there. On next Tuesday, we're going to have a town hall meeting for the budget for FY 2022. I'm going to share a draft with the council as well as with the public to be able to get feedback on how that budget should look for the upcoming fiscal year. I believe that everybody will be happy with the numbers so far and to see that the city is in great financial condition. And the last thing that I want to talk about, and I would have brought it to you tonight, however, April and I discussed this morning on my way to Gadsden. And April, you didn't even know the name of it, but I came up with the name while I was up there. And it's called 200 for 200. And what we would like to do is to use a portion of the money that we receive from the American Rescue Plan. I am a part of the Mayor's Challenge, which has a responsibility of increasing the vaccination rate in our area by 20%. So we came up with this great idea that we're going to encourage 200 unvaccinated Irondale citizens or employees, and that if they get both of the shots, they will receive $200. So we want to be able to bring this idea to you on next Wednesday. I would like to call a special council meeting to present that to you at 6 o'clock if everybody's in agreement and can make that meeting. At this time, I'll turn it over to Dr. Gonsolin, and I will allow him to give a report on the county schools that reside in the city of Irondale.
Thank you, Mayor Stewart. Good evening, everyone, council members, visitors. Ms. Donna Pike, who's on our board, could you give them the documents? I just have a couple of things that I want to share with you guys. First of all, it's indeed a pleasure for me to be here tonight. I've spoken to a couple of you on the phone. Now it's good to meet you in person. I received a call from Mr. London on last week, and he just was inquiring about some of our opening procedures, in particular about our COVID procedures and where we are with our numbers. And so I told him that at the next council meeting, I would be more than willing to meet and talk about those things. So as a school district, we have our last count, our 5-day count. We had 33,400 students enrolled, and we are still enrolling students. And so we see that our student enrollment throughout the district is growing and continues to grow. That's the entire district. All of our schools are open, as you know, as it relates to COVID-19 in terms of masking. The district is optional masking at this particular time, but yet we measure things school by school. And I'll explain to you what that means in a minute. Why did we go to the optional? Because last year, we looked at our data and we saw what worked for us as a school district. And what we saw last year was that with our spacing and our cleaning and some of our different measures, we might have a problem on one side of the county, but we don't have a problem on the other side of the county. And so then therefore, we reacted or we responded to where the problem or the issue was, and we caught it very early. Last year, our option, because we were all masked, our option was to switch to remote, and we had a formula for that as well. So this year, we have set up to where we look at the total student enrollment of a particular school. And then when we get to 10 to 15% of those students who have been excluded from school, whether it's because of COVID, being positive tested for COVID-19 or a close contact, then there's a warning meeting that occurs with the faculty, staff, and also with the community, so that we can explain to them our process. We continue to look at our numbers, and from 15% to 20% of that student enrollment, then that school is mandated to mask for a 14 calendar day, period. And then we assess it as the numbers, we assess it around the 12th or 13th day to make a decision of whether we extend that mask order or whether we go back to making it optional. If it gets to 20% or more, then we go to a mandated remote learning process for all of those students. And the teachers will show up to school and will teach in a remote session. All of our students have Chromebooks. We have 5,000 hotspots for our students who need those particular hotspots. Last year we gave out about 3,000, but we added 2 more thousand just in case. And we have 6 of our communities that we're working on getting them all internet access. free access to the internet for educational purposes. So that's why we went to the 5,000 as well. We will monitor that on a 14-day period so that we can see whether we stay at remote for a period of time or we go back to the school and dictating that as to where they are in that percentage would determine whether they return in mask or whether they return optional. So I just wanted to discuss for a minute district-wide our numbers and then give you in particular to the numbers in Irondale, okay? District-wide, for our first, we've been in school 4, 5, 7 days. For faculty and staff, that's been tested positive for COVID. We have less than 1% in the entire district. For students, we have less than 1%. The number for the students, for the faculty is 42. For the students district-wide is 232. For our current week close contacts is 23 for our faculty and staff, which again is less than 1%, and 748 for our students, which is 2.21%. And as a district, we have less than 1% of our faculty, staff, and students that have tested positive, and we have 2.02% of close contact. Now with close contact, we follow the Alabama Department of Public Health guidelines. And we have a graphic with scenarios that I could provide to you at a later time that tells us what we have to do. We get a lot of flack from that, guys, I'll just be honest with you. Because people think that we've come up with this framework and concept, but we're simply just following the Alabama Department of Public Health guidelines that we are mandated to follow. When those students have to go home and are excluded, and we call it exclusion because we cannot quarantine anyone. We don't have the authority to do that. But when they're excluded from campus, at each campus, we have it set up to where on our online Schoology process, those kids' assignments are posted. And then they have to check in with the teacher if they have any questions or concerns for that 2-week period of time. At our elementary level, we have it online as well, but we also send home packets, just depending on the age of the child and the capability of that particular child, okay? So now I'm going to get into the Irondale School District feeder pattern. And currently we have 2,392 students. At Irondale Community, we have an enrollment of 407, 3 with positive, and 9 with close contacts, with a total of 12, and that's 2.95%, well under that 10% or 15%. At Grantswood Community, we have 1 child that has tested positive, and we have 20 close contacts. And that's 21 total out of 374 students at a 5.61%. Irondale Middle, we have 3 students and 10 that tested positive and 10 close contacts, a total of 13 kids, a 470 student enrollment, which is 2.77%. And at Shays Valley, we have 10 that has tested positive, 16 close contacts, 26 total out of 1,141, which is 2.28%. Of the entire feeder pattern, that's 17 tested positive, 55 close contacts, a total of 72 students, and at a 3.01%. So that tells us a couple of things. It tells us that in the schools that we're doing a good job with our cleaning, we're doing a good job with our spacing in the Irondale area, and something is happening in the community as well. Because I'll be honest with you, these are not the same results that we have across all of our 57 schools. So it depends on what's happening in the community. For example, in two of our communities, the elementary and the high school, they will be going to the mandated masking already. Now, when we go and we talk to the parents and talk to the community, we find out that they had a church event a big church event in both of those communities. And so that's when you had the issues. And so what we're asking is the community to work with us so that, so that we can keep the doors of the school open. These are unprecedented times, but we are still committed to educating our children. We're still committed to teaching so that our children can learn, but we want to do it in a very safe way. I've been in contact with the Jefferson County health officer as well as the state health officer and many other doctors. And right about now, everybody has an opinion, okay, as to what we should do. But we're the ones left with the decisions to make it happen. And so I promise you that we are monitoring. No plan. Last year, we went through the alphabets of plans twice, okay? And so we are prepared this year to do the same thing if we have to. We are completely one-to-one. All of our children, kindergarten through 12th grade, will be issued a Chromebook, and we are prepared to teach in any manner that we have to teach in. But I can tell you, you know, if you see an educator, especially in Jefferson County, please tell them thank you, because it is some very hard work, but we appreciate the community working with us. And I mentioned Ms. Donna Pike, our school board member. I want to thank her and the other 4 board members, because just with the computers alone, I think we did $4.1 million to pay for those Chromebooks, and a number of other things that we're doing across our district. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Just want to go back to like your tracking of the percentages. Are you daily looking at
It's
those
daily.
percentages or weekly? Okay.
We look at it daily, but we report it weekly. And so I'm giving y'all this information tonight, but it's not made public until tomorrow morning. All right, our board members have that information, and our executive team has the information, but in the morning, it's gonna go on our webpage so that our community can see it. And it changes daily. And so you can have a school that's at 3% one day, and this happened today. And in 1 or 2 days, they're at 15%. Most of it is close contacts. And so, but we are still bound by the Alabama Department of Public Health to exclude kids if they're coming within those close contacts.
Another question. It jumped up. You said there would be a meeting with the faculty and community. So, for instance, if today one school jumped up to the next threshold,
Yes.
when would that meeting be?
So, for example, today we got from one of our schools that they moved into that first bracket. Then that faculty meeting is set for tomorrow at 3:30, and the community meeting is set for tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And so they will, on Friday, that school, those 2 schools, or 4 schools, will be in the mandated mask status.
And how's that dispersed to the community as far as that meeting? Or will it come, I guess, to parents?
Yes, sir. So we have a Blackboard message through their phones and emails will be sent out tonight to those communities. It goes out tonight at 6 o'clock. Well, it went out at 6 o'clock to those particular community members, and then to the faculty and staff as well. Now, once the meeting is held, because we know not everyone can attend those meetings, then we send out all of the PowerPoints and the slides and presentations of the information right after the meeting to everyone, whether they attended the meeting or not. But we also are aware that even in all of our efforts to be transparent and to do that, we constantly have to continue. We already know in those particular communities, that's going to be a constant communication all week.
Yes, Dr. Gonsolin, thank you so much for being here. So nice to meet you in person.
Yes, ma'am.
I was at the Shades Valley High School. They had a booster club and all kind of events going on a couple of weekends ago.
Yes.
And the kids are really excited about the sporting events and so on. And I know that you mentioned this is what you're doing in the classroom.
Yes.
Are there any different protocols for our athletes at the middle school and the high school?
So at this particular time, what we do is we follow the Alabama High School Association, Athletic Association guidelines. And they give us guidelines on, like, for example, Friday night, Shades Valley will be playing clay target. So they give us guidelines for how many, what's the capacity that could be inside the stadium. They also give us guidelines on masks. And right now, last year, they had it at a 30 or 40% at one particular time. This year, they're starting out at 100% capacity. That's surprising to me, but we didn't develop those guidelines. And then it's recommended for masks. Now, what we're going to do is, and we're still planning through this, but we're anticipating to follow those guidelines, but for indoor activities like volleyball or anything like that, that we'll go to a mandated mask.
Okay.
And so I don't have by memory all of those guidelines, but I can produce those for you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Dr. Gosling, you did say that K through 12 are receiving the Chromebooks?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
K through
very well.
12.
Thank you.
We have 35, we have about 35,500 that we're expecting, 35,500 students that we're expecting, and we have right now well over 40,000 Chromebooks.
Very good, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, will the Jackson County school system be participating in the UAB public health testing for asymptomatic?
At this time, we will not be participating in that. We have worked with UAB in the past, like last year, where we, her question was whether we're participating in UAB testing. We're not participating in that this year, but last year we did participate in the vaccination shots, the clinics. We had at several schools as well, and we anticipate doing that as well this particular school year.
Dr. Johnson, first of all, thank you for coming.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
But if anybody wants any information as far as the guideline that the Alabama High School Athletic Association put out, you can go up on the ahssa.com and you can pull up anything that you want. It's on the sports site, basketball, whatever you want, and they have those guidelines on that website.
And also at jeffcoed.com.
And Jeff Coed.
jeffcoed.com. If you go there, right when you pull up the website, you're gonna because we want to make it easy, right?
Mhm.
And it has COVID-19 information, and then it'll have all of the categories on one side. For athletics, you can pull it up and catch it. For the classroom, everything that I've just told you, that'll be on that webpage as well.
The data, you said it would be like released tomorrow
Yes,
under like COVID, or is it somewhere
yes.
else?
It's gonna be COVID. It's gonna be under the data dashboard.
Okay.
And so, but it's gonna be easy for you to see. Right when you click on it, you're gonna see, the biggest thing you see is COVID-19 and data information. You click on that, and then you'll see the dashboard.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome in this chamber anytime you want to relay any bit of information, whether it's COVID-19 related. Please, open door policy, please come in and share anything that you have with us going on with the schools. Absolutely. We really appreciate your presence tonight.
Well, thank you very much. In the near future, I will ask to come back sometime this year, because next year, across the district, we are opening up 17 new academies, anywhere from global leadership academies to STEM academies at the elementary, to performing arts academies, to automotive mechanic academies. And so I'd like to come back later than the school year, once we've gotten all of the planning done, to share with you what will be happening in the Irondale feeder pattern.
And Dr. Gunson, I would also like to, your board, think about the police and fire academy.
Yes, sir.
I think I'm a believer if we train our own, we hire our own.
Yes, sir.
And so if
And we do have-
if anything I can do with that, just let me know.
Yes, sir, and we
Yes,
do
sir.
have that academy, and we have the Army JROTC and the Marine JROTC, and we are looking at, in the next coming years, to add the other two armed forces. And the Marine JROTC is here in this particular feeder pattern.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Thank you, Dr. Gosling.
Thank you, Mayor Stewart and council members. I am circulating a map for you, and then I have some up here for the attendees, if anyone would like to see it, to reference when I'm speaking with all of you. My name is Russia Smith, and I'm the Executive Director of Freshwater Land Trust. Some of you may be familiar with us, but if you're not, let me just tell you a little about what we do and why I'm here. 25 years ago, we were formed out of the sewer litigation. We are a land conservation organization, so we protect property throughout central Alabama. That includes Jefferson County. We currently hold 8,000 acres. that we have protected. 4,000 of those are in Jefferson County. And we also build out the Red Rock Trail system in Jefferson County that many of you may be familiar with. That includes the Rotary Trail, Kiwanis Vulcan Trail, 5 Mile Creek. Any trail that you know of is likely part of the Red Rock Trail system that we continue to build out along with the Jefferson County Department of Health throughout the county. They're our partner in that effort. And so we have a couple of joint projects that we've already done with Irondale. Some of you may be familiar with the Canoe launch in Grants Mill and also in Moon River. And we, in 2006, we acquired a little over 32 acres behind Grants Mill. We refer to it as CU5. And what we were able to do with that was to create the Cahaba River Walk, and it formed about a mile of a trail behind Grants Mill. Now, I've shown you on the map, you can see the properties identified in green in the Grants Mill area are all owned by Freshwater Land Trust, and these are behind the Church of the Highlands. So you can again see properties in the southwest corner, and that includes the Cahaba River Walk down under the Church of the Highlands property. And really on the northeastern and southeastern side are an additional property that we own as well. That's about 110 acres, and we call that CU4. It came to our attention earlier this year that the 12-acre parcel identified in pink was going to be put up for sale. And it was important to us because it would provide a connection from the property that we own known as CU5 and allow us to open up the property, the 110 acres that we also own. Again, it will provide access between those properties. And we would really like to open that up for public access. So if you were able to access the additional 110 acres, it would add several miles of trail behind Grants Mill and on the Cahaba River. So it could be a real outdoor recreational feature for the city of Irondale. And so I think you all are somewhat familiar with this. We've had some discussions with the mayor. I spoke to Councilor today about this. We're extremely excited about this opportunity. We would love to work with Irondale on it. Our main concern about the 12 acres for sale, we would be happy to take it. We do not have the funding to purchase the property. We can do that in any way people want to do it. We could hold a conservation easement. We could take it in fee simple if someone wanted to donate the property to us. We just want to ensure that A, we can have access to all of our properties so that people can use that for hiking and walking. And we also want to make sure that it's protected in the future and cannot be developed at some point down the road when you and I and everybody else in this room is no longer here. So I am here to answer any questions, talk or provide more information about this, but we think it's, again, an incredibly exciting opportunity, and we hope we can get this done for your community.
Ms. Smith, we had a conversation earlier this afternoon. I didn't get a chance to mention it to some council members, but I did mention it to our mayor to update him on our conversation. And our discussion had to do with some things that have been done in other states, and that is where you actually have private business that would go in and acquire the land and take advantage of the tax write-off, donate the land, and have maybe a marker or something calling it whatever the name of the business is, as an alternative way of working with this. And if you'll update us on what y'all have done, you're not new to doing this, you've done it before, if you can update us on that.
Right, we have had property donated to us, obviously, in the past, in fee simple, where people do take a tax benefit for that. So we would certainly be open to that. We've also done, as I mentioned, a conservation easement arrangement where a city may own the property and then we hold the conservation easement. There are a number of other municipalities that we have that current arrangement with. And we could certainly do that way, but as you mentioned, there would be a tax benefit if a business wanted to purchase the property and donate it to us. We would completely be open to naming rights on the trail if a business wanted to do that. The only thing I think we all, at some point, need to talk about is really long-term maintenance of not only this particular property, but all of the trails there. And perhaps if a business was willing to do that, we could talk to them about some sort of fund that would be set up for long-term maintenance of this area, or any kind of other maintenance agreement that maybe we could talk about together. That'd just be the most important concern from a long-term perspective.
Miss, what's your first name, Miss Smith? Right here, I'm sorry, John.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Russia, R-U-S-H-A.
Okay. This top part, I'm familiar with this part and that part. This top part, are there trails there already in this part here on the top?
There are a few trails in there. They're not very developed. We would go back in and really make sure that it was all connected, all developed. There is some from, I think, old activity, whether it was logging or what it might, I don't know what was necessarily there before, but there are some trails that people utilize that they have just worn themselves, but we want to make it a little more of a, it wouldn't be paved, but more of a
Right.
structured trail that people could follow with signage and connected among
Right.
our properties.
And this property right at the bottom, is it trails there also?
The Riverwalk is the only trail, yes, that is in the area of the Riverwalk right there.
Right there, right. That's Overton Road there.
Correct.
Right.
No,
So what's-
right behind, this
Behind
area
Church
right
of the
here is where
Highlands.
the Riverwalk Trail exists now.
Yes, right.
Right under here, yeah.
All right, but
So
that.
this would connect and we could open all of that up that way.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I think the mayor also has my cell phone and my email, so any of you are welcome to reach out to me, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have.
Yes, we had talked about this a few weeks ago, and I just wanted Russia to come and to be able to share with you all about this piece of property. And Irondale wants to become a destination for people who love the outdoors, and I feel like this would be a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to expand on that blueprint. Therefore, if you have any questions, I really would want you to reach out to Russia within the next couple of weeks. I would like to kind of move forward on it one way or the other. And that's why I wanted her to be able to present it tonight. So I just wanted to give you all a heads up that that was the reason that she was giving the presentation, because we wanted to follow up on a couple of weeks ago that we had talked about it. And if we're going to do something, that's fine. But if we're not going to do something, we need to know that as well so that we can begin to take our energies and to be able to spend that on another project. Also, Russia, briefly, can you give them an update on Moon River?
Absolutely. Before I pivot to Moon River, let me just say one thing. We don't open all of our properties up for public access. That's something we only do in rare circumstances where we think it's really merited. And we think this is an unusually special circumstance that could really be transformational for this area, and that is why we brought this up and wanted to do this here. But pivoting on to the Moon River canoe launch, as you all will recall, we are going to construct a parking lot there on the DOT right-of-way. We have submitted the documentation to the ALDOT, and we expect to have it back next week. And then we will start construction. We've already retained a construction company, have the plans, and we should be ready to go and hope to have that, if not completed, certainly close to completed by the end of September. And we will be in charge of the construction of that, and then obviously we have an agreement with the city going forward, but we're excited to get that underway, and it should be happening shortly.
I had one question. Since you pivoted to parking, it kind of rose a question in my mind here. Where will there be any additional parking for the trailheads here?
Well, we've talked about that some with some other surrounding landowners. Maybe even, this is premature, but we're hopeful maybe not at Church of the Highlands, but a different area away from their church. They might be willing to discuss parking with us there as well, so that you could access the trail from a different area as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Ms. Smith, I just want to thank you for the work that y'all are doing. It's really important, and certainly in agreement with the mayor on the need to, this is beautiful, natural environment, and we have many people that like to hike, that like to walk, that would love to come out here. And so I want to thank you for what you've done thus far with this trail. And this is a great opportunity, not just for our residents, but there are other people throughout our area that like to hike and like to get out and enjoy nature. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. We're glad to be partners with the city of Irondale and look forward to working together in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Roshi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Council President, I just have one more thing
Yes,
to
sir.
say because this is time sensitive. Saturday, there's going to be a Saturday cyclist stop. It's going to be between the hours of 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's going to take place on the side of City Hall in front of the mural. There are a group of cyclists that are throwing a benefit ride for another cyclist that has endured some health issues, and they selected the city of Irondale to be one of their stops on their rides. So they're going to be coming through the city of Irondale between 9 and 11 o'clock, and we're going to provide them with water and snacks on the side of what the mural is. That's going to be one of the places that they stop. They're also going to have a photographer out there that's, when they stop, they'll take a picture in front of the mural, and then they will continue to ride. This is open for any citizen in Irondale who would like to come and participate and to be a part of it, but it's Saturday from 9 to about 11 o'clock. It's going to be on the side of the building in front of the mural, and we would love to see everybody there.
Just a clarification question. Are they going to be going through their, so I imagine there's going to be quite a large group.
They said about 100 cyclists so far, and they have 3 different groups, and they're going to, I forgot, we had a cyclist meeting on Monday, but I didn't want to go through everything that was going on. But the cyclist community was here, the biking community, and also individuals that like to run. So we're meeting the 3rd Monday of each month to discuss how we can create that outdoor cool environment for the city of Irondale. They discussed at that time that they're going to have the riders coming through, I think it's a 65-mile ride, a 40-mile ride, and a 20-mile ride. But the first cyclist to come through the city of Irondale should be around 9 to 9:30. So yes, David, it's a benefit from a rider that's having some health issues, and they're
Sure.
trying to raise some financial support for them. We just shared with them that we would provide snacks and water and to be a stop for a place for them to be able to refresh themselves to help them to continue their ride.
And we see a lot of the riders, out on the early mornings and things of that nature on Ruffner Road and 16th Street and things like that. Do you, is that going to kind of still be the traffic pattern for
Yes,
these riders?
I think one of the rides is going to go from Homewood all the way up to, what is that, the shopping center in Leeds. I think that's going to be the 65-mile ride, and then they're going to have another ride comes down 16, and they're going to veer off on Ruffner.
Okay.
And then it's going to be another group that comes down 16, and they're going to come straight down First Avenue South.
Gotcha. So from a traffic pattern standpoint, we might have a few extra people to share the road with on Saturday morning.
Yes, so, yes, be kind to bikers Saturday morning, and our police department will also be out there to protect the riders as well as the drivers in the city of Irondale as well. So we just want everybody to be safe.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right. That being said, now we find ourselves looking for any department head reports. I know we've got a few department heads. Greetings, sir. Good.
I just wanted to give you all an update on the main replacement that we've been doing on the north side. The guys have replaced probably 20 service lines on 2nd Avenue North. There's still some stuff to be done over there, but they've made big strides. There's only about 4 of them working on it. I think we have 5 people in the field right now. We're pretty short staffed, so they've been doing a really good job. Wanted to commend them for that. Tally Road, they worked on it a little bit. They've got some of that done, but they've got to go back up there and complete that. Right now, they're on 24th Street North there's some valving over there that's actually broke, so they'll be over there. They were over there today. They'll be over there tomorrow and probably the first of next week as well. One thing that took a lot of their time was up there at Reamer Street where the water tank is. There's an old 2-inch line that we spent probably 2 days trying to find out where it ran. It actually runs through Lemoore to Ruffner, and that's how everybody used to be fed water on Ruffner Road. And looking at the maps from the 60s and the 70s, it told us, it was in this vicinity and completely wrong. And so we ended up looking at the tax map and finding about a 10-foot right-of-way behind the houses. And so it took a little while to find that, but the guys have been doing a really good job. I would say we're probably about 50% done with it, with the whole project in itself. So if you see them, I'd appreciate it if you just told them, good job. They've put in a lot of hours. They've worked a couple of Fridays, so they've been busting their butts. So when it's time to pave, we're not the hold up for everything. So just wanted to tell you all that. So.
Thank you, sir. I know I've seen y'all a lot on Second North. You guys have been busy.
Yeah, I think they're ready for a change of scenery.
Thank you. Any other reports from any other department heads with us this evening? Yes, sir.
First piece is probably some news. You guys and some other people will be happy to hear. The property at 2305 First Avenue South that was set to be abated they began that today, and the property that we have on Overton, they informed that they will start that tomorrow. So those two are going. So just want to let you know that. And then the last, the 12th would have made right around a month, so we're just a little over a month on the transporting. I looked at the numbers. We had 76 transports within the 12th of last month to yesterday. 21 of those were from other agencies that have helped us, so we've gotten right at 55. And those could have been, vehicle accidents where we had multiple patients, things like that. But we have been able in the last month to do 55 transports for our citizens. So.
Thank you, sir. Any other department head reports for this evening? That being said, at this time looking for, let's see here, department head reports. Any standing committee reports at this time? All right. Speaking of committees, I'll be getting with each one of y'all separately over the next, prior to the next meeting to discuss committee assignments. We obviously have 2 committees that are available due to Bobby Joe's vacancy and appointing Aaron here, Councilman Sims. So it could be a chance to shuffle the deck a little bit as far as committees, or just basically I'll be seeking your input on committees and things like that so that we can assign Aaron to these committees. So just be on the lookout for that correspondence. All right. That being said, Councilman London, do you have your report?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Mayor, just want to piggyback. I think one thing I think you want to mention also that you want the kids to bring the family want to bring the kids out on their bikes and kind of have a good time also on Saturday.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But so if you have any children for Saturday morning, just bring your kids and bring your bikes out and mix some bikers. I think it's going to be a good thing. Second thing is this. We've been talking about youth sports over and over and over again. Still haven't gotten a phone call for anybody. I heard you during the election time about you want youth sports, but no one has stepped up to the plate. I'm ready for you to get it started. So if you have kids and youth sports is interested to you and you're excited, that makes you excited, then call me up, email me up. My baby is 23 years old, and when they was out in the parks, I was there Saturday every night, 6 days a week, and the only day I had off was Sunday. So if you're interested in that, let's get it going. I heard you folks that was ran against me, said that was supporting to you. Haven't heard you since I've been on council. So hey, if you're interested in that, look me up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Wanted to update everyone because I've received a lot of exciting phone calls from people that live in my district as well as other districts around Idell. You've noticed that building structure that's going on at the intersection of I-459, which is the Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, Chevron convenience store. That's coming along very nicely, and people were wondering, when are they gonna open up? It's looking really good. Looks like they're gonna open up in a couple of weeks or so. So I reached out to the owner, and the owner said that they're looking to open up around the 1st of November. That's their scheduled goal. He's saying if we have favorable weather with not so much rain, might be sooner, but look towards the 1st of November for that opening. So that's truly wonderful news for our community, and a lot of people are excited. I know the folks that work out at the Auto Mall will be very happy to have some other options for lunch. That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Councilman Box?
Yes, sir, thank you. Once again, echoing the two previous colleagues' comments, thanks everybody for coming. We really appreciate the turnouts that we're getting. Basically, the mayor and I are talking again about some property for a park in the eastern section of town. We're trying to work out some details with some of the neighborhoods and property owners there. And I'm also looking to the neighborhood associations, or if you don't have an association, to try to contact me as soon as possible before the end of the fiscal year and give me some projects that you might want to see done in your neighborhood, especially that may be on city property or city right-of-way. And with that said, that's all my report.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Sims?
Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I have nothing to report at this time.
Okay. And as far as my report, just piggybacking on the water department and everything, thank you for the great work you guys have been doing. I've seen you out there every morning. So I know that your guys might want some change of scenery, and I know some of the people are probably ready to have you out of your out of their front yards. But regardless, I know it's important work, and I appreciate you guys getting through it as quickly as you can. And for the public works that have been doing a lot of work in our area in particular, it was pointed out to me that there was a good deal of public works stuff that was done in the Bend. The residents over there tremendously appreciate that. So our department heads, as usual, are doing a fantastic job, and we appreciate you for it.
Council President Spivey.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I wanted to recognize Judge Batiste that's here with us tonight. She helped serve the city in a very valuable capacity to us.
Snuck in on us.
Hide back there.
Thank you for recognizing her.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, so since our reports are done, at this time, we would look for any reports of boards or non-council committees. Yes, ma'am.
Julie Gardner, Chamber of Commerce. Everyone had such a good time at the Celebrate Irondale Family Fun Day. If you missed out on getting a shirt that says I Heart Irondale, you can go to our website, irondalecoc.com. It's in the middle of the page, and you can click the link and you can order your shirt. It's the cost of the shirt. So you guys get Christmas presents. You can't get better presents than that at Walmart. And also, we are working on a tourism website so that it's up and running. We're highlighting the businesses here. And I love the theme that people like to come to Irondale to hang out for the weekend. They like to go hiking, canoeing, shopping for renovation things. And Irondale Pickers is great fun too. There are several businesses not open right now. I don't know if you knew that Eat at Panopic is not open because they don't have staff. So if you have a friend sitting around playing Xbox, encourage them to go get a job. I'd like to eat yummy food. So it does make a difference. I don't know if you've ever had two jobs at one time, but it is important to work. It gives you purpose. So just encourage your friends to, or people you might know, go to work. We need you. More business will create more business, but we need employees. And it helps to be very kind to the employees that are there. So if you are delayed getting your burger at Jack's, just still be nice, because that might be the difference of them not quitting that day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other non-council committees that we need to hear from this evening? Fair enough. That being said, we'll go ahead and move into the deliberation on agenda items only. We have just a few items here on new business, total of 4. We've got Resolution 2021 R86 that authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. to execute a service agreement with Revelation Church Ministries in the amount of $2,500. A similar resolution that we've seen before. Councilman London, any questions for the mayor on this?
No question.
All right, Councilwoman Quero?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No question.
And myself, no questions. Thank you. And if we notice, this is on the consent agenda. All right. Resolution 2021 R87 authorizes the amendment of Resolution 2021 R65, approving the 2021 road paving plan to add 3 additional streets to such plan, namely Lawrence, McCoy, and Montecillo. Councilman London, any questions on that?
Sir.
Councilwoman Quero?
Yeah, I had a question, and the mayor's been out of town, and that's why he hadn't been able to answer it. So I'll go ahead and ask it now. I noticed that when I did look at the 12-year pavement plan, that they were scheduled in year 6 for crack sealing work. Is that what's gonna be taking place there?
No. What is going on with these 3 roads? The city of Birmingham has part of these roads,
Okay.
and they notified us that they were getting ready to pave them. And we didn't want to happen what happened on the road that you live on, Cindy, where only half of the road was paved, and then everybody started calling City Hall, want to know why they didn't
Yes.
finish, completed the whole road. When they sent that document, I thought that it would be efficient, and the best way to deal with that so we don't get those comments is to go ahead and add these roads to the plan, even though they were not a part of the plan. But at least we will get the whole road paved and not 2/4 or 3/4 or a third. But it would just be a project where the city of Birmingham and Irondale can work together to make sure that the total road is paved. I think the additional cost to us would be about $45,000 to get that done. So that's why I'm asking the council to add it, just so we won't have half-paved roads.
Great. Thank you so much, Mayor Stewart.
Councilman Box?
I answered every question I had, thank you.
Councilman Sims?
I'm just curious if there's a time frame that Birmingham gave.
We will have to get with their Public Works Department. They just heard that we had a road paving plan and they had a plan, and we're trying to work together as municipalities, kind of be on the same page. So right now, I would say it's in the planning stage, but at least they wanted to notify us to let us know what was going on, so they wouldn't just pave half of the road and just walk off and leave it that way.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for adding those roads to it. I know no one hates what she's had to deal with, having the differences in the pavement and wondering, because that's an odd part of the city where we have that original circle of the original city lines, and I mean, in some places it cuts through people's backyard.
Right.
So it's a very strange area of the city, so I'm thankful for that, so thank you, sir. Resolution 2021 R89 accepts the audit from fiscal year 2019 through 20.
Council
Councilman?
President,
Yes,
the
sir.
auditors are here.
Yes, sir.
So if you all would like for them to come to the front and give a brief overview before you all, if you have any questions and before you vote on it. I did want them to give you a brief synopsis of what took place with this audit, since they are brand new to the city. Call them BMSS, and we got Jake from State Farm and SVH. They kind of remind me of the post office. They all got these funky names, and then we got Mr. We just got Mr. Brand with him, but I told him he and I are cool because he wear bow ties. So,
I was told I'd have about 2 hours to make this presentation, it'll be 75 pages.
well, if you can give us about 5 minutes of it, we appreciate it.
Well, if I can stretch it to 5 minutes, I will.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to serve you all this year. Like you say, we're the new auditors to the city. And we got started a little late in the process, but we went through the whole process, and we appreciate the ability for you all to allow us to come in and perform an audit. First of all, a lot of people have some misnomers about what an audit is. We don't come in and look at every single thing the city does. We can't look at every receipt, everything. We perform tests. And first and foremost, after we perform our tests, we issue an opinion on your financial statements. and the opinion we issued on your financial statements are that they're in accordance with general accepted accounting principles. And that's the top opinion we can give, okay? And that's what you want as those charged with governance for the city of Irondale. If we had an opinion that was less than unqualified, then that would mean we found some significant issues within the way that you're handling your finances and so forth like that. Based on our testing, that's not what we found. You've got an unqualified opinion. We're not saying everything's perfect. We haven't found anybody that does everything perfect. We don't do everything perfect. But based on what we found, we issued an opinion that says, based on our testing, we believe that your financial statements are presented in accordance with what professional standards require them to do. Now listen, within our own firm, some of our other clients, I spoke 8 hours today on accounting standards. So if you want to talk more about this, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. We'll be glad to discuss that with you. Just some real quick highlights are the fact that, you know, government accounting standards are just different. I know a lot of you all may be in business and industry. And so if you're looking at this as a business, what you do a lot of times, the city's in a pretty good financial position. You have current assets that are almost 3 times what your current liabilities are, which means if COVID struck everybody and tomorrow you had to liquidate, you'd be able to take care of your current obligations and have plenty left over, all right? You have a pretty strong cash position that at September 30th of last year was at $14 million, and that's a strong cash position. It was up, over the prior year, which is what you want. Your results of operations, which means your revenues, the monies that you bring in through taxes, through your different programs and so forth like that, exceeded your expenditures. And so you ended up with a positive net position. Not everybody does these days. Some people have trouble collecting taxes. They have more program expenses than they have revenues coming in, and that was not the case with the city of Irondale. And so although your operating expenses did increase some, your operating revenues increased over 11% overall. Okay, that's program revenues, that's sales tax, that's all the different taxes you collect and so forth. And so in relationship to that, you were able to pay down some debt. Now you took on some additional debt to make some improvements and so forth like that, but overall, even your debt position, the amount you owe, decreased. And so those are really, really high level of where the city was during the year and where it ended up. Now we're getting close to September. We're already in August, so it won't be too much longer before your next cycle begins. But for the period ending September 30th, 2020, we were able to issue an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. Now this whole 75-page document, that's got good stuff in it. And you all are responsible. You've got a fiscal responsibility to the citizens of Irondale. So I encourage you to read it. If you've got comments or questions, we'd be glad to address any of those that you might have. Is that brief enough?
That's brief enough.
I can go on some more. Tell me.
That's good enough.
Councilman London, do you have any questions for the gentleman?
No, I don't want to prolong him. I know he has somewhere to go, so I don't want to prolong you.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
I looked at the document, 75 pages of it, and I just had 2 questions.
Just 2? Okay.
Yeah, on page 11, what are our other taxes comprised of? Because that's 18.30%.
Okay, and this may be where I get Jake from State Farm. Actually, his name is Jake Becker, and he's one of our very best, and we're proud of Jake. And the part that she's referencing is what we call management's discussion and analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and really, if you all are going to get into these things, which I suggest you do, read that. That puts it in pretty much plain English where this comes from. And the other taxes of 18.3%?
Yes, sir.
You're asking what that's made up of?
Yes, sir.
And without having the detail in front of me, I can't tell you exactly what it is.
Okay. Second
And if
question.
we can't get it to you tonight, we'll shoot it to you in an email, or we'll give you a call.
Okay.
And let you know exactly what that is.
Thank you.
Because your accounts you got a ton of them. We're pretty good at memorizing stuff, and we can't memorize all.
Yeah, the second question is on page 33.
Okay?
Where bottom paragraph, deferred outflows of resources.
Oh, that's good stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Looking at the unamortized amounts.
That's easy for you to say.
There was a note that had to do with the way that was done, and I don't know if that was on that page, but there was a note.
Yeah, you're probably discussing the prior period adjustment.
Yes,
Yeah, okay, so when you issue bonds and you have debt and so forth like that, sometimes you have premiums and discounts
right,
that go along with those, and they have certain amortization periods that
Right.
they're written off over the life and so forth like that. And through our work, we discovered that these weren't being accounted for correctly, in
Okay.
our opinion, with the way that the accounting standards require them to.
Right.
So we went back and adjusted those.
Okay.
Based on what happened in prior periods. This didn't affect the bottom line of the city at all this year.
okay,
Okay, but what it did affect was your net position. And you'll
Right.
see about a $3+ million charge
yes,
that goes back to these prior period adjustments outside of the 2020 year end.
Okay.
That has to do with amortizing these discounts.
that's correct.
And they weren't handled, in our opinion, the accounting for it wasn't handled correctly in the prior periods.
Okay.
So this is adjusting those to get them to the correct presentation of how the accounting standards require them to be presented.
Okay, so we're fine now.
Oh, absolutely. But
Okay,
in our
that was
opinion,
what I
we're
wanted to
fine
make
now.
sure
Yeah,
of.
And there was another part of this prior period adjustment that had to do with depreciation. Another great thing like amortization, right, which means your streets and roads, they have a limited life. And the prior life on those was 100 years. Now, I don't know about the streets where you live, but the streets where I live, ain't no way they're living 100 years. And so that estimate of that useful life, we adjusted it down to a more reasonable useful life for that asset. And so we put the charges back in the prior year. We corrected the balance to where it should be. We proposed corrections to the balance to where it should be based on that. And that's what that about $4 to $5 million prior period adjustment was.
All right, I appreciate your explanation. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
To answer your first question.
Okay.
The other taxes were composed of some minor things, but the major issue components were the occupational tax, the lodging, and the lease tax.
Okay.
What was that last tax?
Occupational lodging and lease taxes.
Lease?
Lease.
Lease.
Yes, sir.
Are you satisfied, Councilwoman Quayle?
Yes.
Outstanding. Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And I myself have no questions.
Thank you again. We had nothing but cooperation from the mayor, the council, the staff, of everybody we work with, and we appreciate you all allowing us to do this. If you've got any comments or questions, I always encourage you to contact us. We'll be glad to sit with you at any point in time, go over things, and would encourage you to do that. All right? Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great
Thank
night,
you, sir.
gentlemen. Okay. So no questions on R89. That being said, we find ourselves with the next resolution. Resolution 2021 R90 authorizes the amendment of Resolution 2021 R84 to authorize participation in the ALM Economic Development Academy by, and we're going to go through some names here. Right now, in the resolution, we have it amended basically to add Councilman Aaron Sims, who has expressed interest in attending that. And then in addition to Mayor James Stewart Jr., Councilman Robert Fox, and Councilwoman Cindy Cuellar. That being said, that still leaves a fifth person that we have the ability to send to this academy. Mayor, I believe you have a preference that we send Miss Lou Jackson, but we're going to go ahead and open this up for deliberation. Mayor, it looks like you want to speak.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted me to speak to why I wanted to select
That would be
Lou.
fantastic. I saw
Okay.
you leaning in, so I figured.
Okay,
you'd
I'm
go
sorry,
for
yeah.
it.
The reason I wanted to select Lou because Lou works very closely with me on economic development issues. And when calls come into the city, they usually come into either the city clerk office or they come into the mayor's office. So I want her to be well-versed in how to be able to deal with that information and those calls when they come in. She's also working closely with me on Blueprint Irondale. We're in the process of trying to get the city of Irondale to become a Main Street city. And I'm at their workshop this week for 3 days in the glorious city of Gadsden, Alabama. So with all of those things that are going on, and with her connection to helping us to be able to move the city forward, I feel like she would be an excellent fit to be able to fill that gap and to be educated on the process about how we do economic development in the city of Irondale, but also being able to get exposed to it on another level. However, it's also good that she will be probably the main contact for the council and working with the council on it as well. Therefore, I'm recommending that I would like to see Ms. Lou Jackson as an addition to this particular resolution.
Thank you. Councilman London, do you have any comments or other alternative suggestions for who should fill this
No,
fifth
I
seat?
think, I agree with the mayor that, that she should be involved with this process because she does work closely with the mayor and his office. So I think she'll be a great person to go down to this event.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Cuellar, do you have any comments or alternative suggestions?
I do. I sat down with the mayor earlier this afternoon and explained why it would be beneficial to have Ms. Gardner fill this slot, because she is out there in the field with the businesses, making contact with them, and it's a great way for us to know about what is happening among our business community, if they are planning to looking at expansion, those kind of opportunities. And by attending this academy, she will be exposed to the various folks within the state of Alabama. And one of the things that I would like to note is that I did speak with Neil Wade, who is heading up this academic academy yesterday. And he mentioned that, yes, it would be a very good idea to have the Chamber of Commerce director, because they do play a key role in our current business community and would be our eyes and ears for expansion, and would get the tools, equip them with the tools that they need to bring this together, where you've got the council, the mayor, and then you've got our Chamber of Commerce that's out there working out in the field. So for that reason, I mentioned that to the mayor, and his comment to me was, whatever the council wants to go with, I'm fine with that.
Good. Thank you. Councilman Box, any comments or suggestions?
I think there's an extreme amount of validity on all the discussion we're having. And Councilwoman Cuellar makes a great point. The mayor makes an awesome point too. I mean, Ms. Lou is actually going to be dealing with it more than any of us would here. So in my opinion, I would surrender my position to Ms. Gardner. That way we could possibly have the best of both worlds if that doesn't meet with any opposition from the mayor or anybody else doesn't have any heartburn with it.
Before we consider that further, Councilman Sims, any comments or alternative suggestions?
I was just curious, are we limited to the number of people that can go? 5, okay.
That's it.
So that being said,
Can I make another comment?
yeah, I just
Unless
wanted to
unless you
defer to-
get ready to.
I'm sorry?
Unless you get ready to. Unless you're getting ready to make a comment.
Well, I was going to bounce that off, I know this is our vote, Mayor, but do you have
Right.
any hesitation about Councilman Box pulling back so that he could create an additional slot? Because as long as we have 2 council members, we satisfy that requirement, and we can have up to 5 people. So do you have any hesitation on that, or any reason you would encourage him to stay on this?
Well, I would encourage them because the council plays a significant role, in economic development. When we're bringing the agreements, the incentive agreements, when companies are coming to the city of Irondale, they will deal more with the council than they will deal with the chamber. Also, when you get into, economic development is broken down into more than just recruiting. You have retention and expansion. You have workforce development. You have entrepreneurship. You have small business financing. It has about 6 or 7 different legs to it. And my desire is that I hope the academy would be able to educate the council to the point that we don't get stuck on thinking that the only thing about economic development is bringing a new business into the city, because retaining a business is just as important as going out to attract a new business. I feel like because Councilman Box is a new counselor, and he needs to know and to be educated about the process, that it would be very important for him to be a part of it so that he will understand when these things come down the pike, what is actually going on in the process. And being exposed to, I think sometimes we learn more because we're sitting in the classroom, but you can really learn more by being around other counselors and being able to develop that network with people that have been counselors for 4 years or 8 years. So not only do you get the educational side, but you also receive the network side. Now, if we want our chamber director to go to an economic development summit, I would say the best thing for her to go is to go to the one that I went to in Auburn, because that one had a lot of chamber directors were a part of that because it was kind of geared for economic development as a whole. I feel that this academy is really geared for mayors and council persons to teach them how to do economic development. So I'm all for the chamber being involved and learning economic development. I think that we all need to be on the same page. That's what Councilperson Cuellar, she and I talked about today, that we all want to be rowing in the same direction. We all are going to work together, and regardless of how the vote goes down, at the end of the day, we're still going to push in the same direction. I just feel that this academy is not geared for a chamber director, but the intensive economic institute that they have in Auburn on a yearly basis. And I'm going back in September, from September the 20th through the 24th. I just feel like that would be a better fit for chamber directors, because it'll be other chamber directors that will be there that she can have the conversation with to see how they do both of those roles in their communities.
Thank you, sir. And Councilman Box, based on that reply, do you still yield, or?
I would say this. What is the date of the first couple of classes that we need to go to?
Schedule had not been published the last time we discussed
He
this.
told me it was November, first week in November would be the orientation class, is what Mr. Wade said.
And do
Okay.
you assume it will be one per quarter? Did he give you that information?
He said that the 4 classes would be on a quarterly basis.
Okay, very good, because I had to check my North Pole schedule for
Sure.
the month of November. So I'm good there, and I would acquiesce to the mayor's guidance. I will stay on the team with his
Fair enough.
request.
Okay.
But I also
Councilman
would
London?
like to note that Mr. Wade did say that there would be chamber directors at this academy, and
Noted.
he said this would be a good thing.
Noted. Councilman London?
Mr. Wade probably know what he's talking about, but this is Irondale, I think the city of Irondale. And you agree, I think you need to be around this table because of the experience that you're gonna have sitting around this table with different councils, like the mayor said, and different mayors, like the mayor said. So I think it's important that you stay on and our 3 council stay on this board.
Okay.
But I think Lou is the person, because when people call Irondale for businesses, they're not calling the chamber, they're calling city clerk, or they calling the mayor, or they calling the city council. And also, at this point, Mr. Box, that your constituents gonna ask you some different things, and now you're gonna have something to tell them.
Yes, well, like I said, I didn't want to be in any way derelict of duty. I just was trying to look for a more positive situation for the city, but the mayor kind of explained it a little bit better for me there.
So the way I see this going is this item will come off of the consent agenda, and it will move to the regular agenda. And so when we get to the regular agenda, we'll go ahead and address item number 4 on consent first. And so what we'll be looking for is a movement for Resolution 2021 R90. And basically, the amendment would be adding Councilman Aaron Sims and blank in addition to Mayor James Stewart. So I'll be looking for a recommendation and a motion on that at that time. And then we'll just bring it down to a vote. There's deliberation on this, so I would not recommend we keep this on consent. So I would say item number 4 moves to the regular agenda at this point. Since we're done deliberating on that for the meantime, as far as the regular agenda, new business number 1, Resolution 2021 R88. declares certain personal property is not needed for public or municipal purposes, and directs the disposal of such property, and authorizes Mayor James D. Stewart Jr. or his designee to purchase a vehicle with such funds in amount not to exceed $38,000. So the way this works is Police Chief Wiggins would basically be surplusing various assets of the city and then using those funds to purchase one new vehicle. This is technically an unbudgeted expense, so we would handle it as an ordinance. We'd go through the ordinance process. So that being said, at this time, Councilman London, do you have any questions around R88?
No, sir.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Box?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
Okay, amount not to exceed 38,000, is that the expected amount from the auction? Or if it's 38 and auction brings in 35, we're kicking in 5?
And here comes the man with the answer.
It would be, we've had some other vehicles that we had proposed for surplus, they were approved to be surplus, and we also have some more that are about to be sold on gov deals. So it would be the sale of all those vehicles, and yes, it would be enough to cover that. But before I go any further, I just wanted y'all to keep in mind, and thoughts and prayers, we have an officer that's in the hospital with COVID, so if y'all don't mind, keep him in thoughts and prayers. If you don't mind. But yeah, the funds would come from the sale of the surplus vehicles.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. So with no further questions on any of the items, once again, moving item number 4 from the consent agenda down to the regular agenda. And I know, Ms. April, we have never really done this before, so I don't want to mess this new process up too badly. That being said, I would look for an approval of the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Approve the agenda. I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Question.
Yes, sir.
Question. Do we need to make a motion to move 4 off the consent?
That's what we're fixing to go ahead and do.
Do that now?
Right now. Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, cool.
So that moving that item off. So looking right now for the consent agenda to be approved with R86, R87, and R89. Do we have a second for that?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait a
Aye.
minute. Did he make the motion? And if he made the motion, I'll second the motion.
I think Spivey made it.
Did you make the motion?
If I made
For
the
the
motion, I didn't mean
consent?
to. I meant
Okay,
to
'cause, yeah,
introduce the
you said
motion.
that. Okay, very
Okay.
good.
So that being said, as far as the introduction of the motion,
Thank you.
I make a motion that the consent agenda with items number 1, 2, and 3.
specifically 86, 87, and 88, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
89.
86, 87, and 89 be approved.
86, 87, and 89.
Mhm.
Yes. So we've got a motion, we have a second, correct?
Yeah, Councilman London,
Que-
second before the
Question.
Okay.
Ms. April's got a comment over here.
Councilman Spivey, when you approved the agenda, you approved the changes to the
Okay.
consent agenda, so you would not
I don't have to go through
actually
the
need
secondary step.
another motion.
Outstanding. Thank you so much.
Right.
Like I said, first time for everything, right? All right. That being said, we have our agenda. At this time, we would accept public comments on agenda items only. No comments on agenda items only? Fair enough. That being said, we've moved through our consent agenda. Now our regular agenda would be R90. I'm looking for a motion on R90.
Councilman Spivey,
Yes.
you would need to approve the consent agenda by a motion and a second and a vote, all of those items.
Okay. For some of that, I thought that's what I was getting
Yeah,
here.
I think that's
Is that
what you were going to.
Are you
or
in
just-
public comments? I thought you'd already moved through that. And then
I
you
hadn't moved through public
Oh.
comments yet.
Oh, I thought you didn't have it.
No, ma'am.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, thank you. No, I appreciate the feedback, because every time I look at these minutes, I always have to remind myself how this process works. Thank you. All right, so, public comments on agenda items only. We did not have any. Thus being said, I'm looking for a motion on 2021 R90. This would be that
Yes.
Development Academy by Councilman Aaron Sims and.
I make a motion that we pay pass Resolution 2021-R-90, which includes Aaron Sims and adds Julie Gardner.
Do we need a point of order real quick, Ms. April?
Did you approve the consent agenda items by a
We-
motion, a second, and a vote before you moved into the regular agenda?
We approved
The agenda,
86.
correct?
We
Did-
approved the agenda.
Right, and then you would also need a motion and a second and a vote on all of the items on the consent agenda to pass those in one vote.
Okay, got
And
you.
then you would move into your regular agenda to consider those items.
We named 86, 87, and 89 specifically, and we had a second and a vote on that.
Okay, I thought that was the approval of the agenda only, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Just to be straight, I make a motion that we approve resolutions 2021-R-86, resolution 2021-R-87, and resolution 2021-R-89 for our consent agenda.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
We're clearing up any doubt. Perfect. All right, that being said, I'll take a motion for R90.
I make a motion that resolution R 2021-R90, which authorizes participation in the Alabama League of Municipality Economic Academy by Councilman Aaron Sims, in addition to Mayor Stewart, Junior Councilman Robert Box, Councilwoman Cindy Cuellar, and that we add Julie Gardner.
We have a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
No.
opposed?
No.
We have 3 opposed, Councilman Linden, Councilman Sims, and myself opposed. I'm looking for a second motion.
Make a motion that resolution 2021-R90 be approved with the addition of Aaron Sims and Lou Jackson.
Jackson, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
No.
We have 4, and 1 opposed.
No, I abstained.
I'm sorry?
I abstained on both.
You abstained on both. Oh, I
Correct.
apologize.
I was silent.
We still have a majority for the addition of Aaron Sims and Lou Jackson. Okay. So that passes as that goes. All right, R88, if someone has the language, since it's an unbudgeted expense, we would need to take that through the 3-step process. Someone want to get us started?
Make a motion resolution 2021-R88 be considered read.
We have a motion. Do we have a
Second.
second? Seconded by, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, yes, sir.
Make a motion that we suspend all rules that will prevent the immediate consideration of resolution 2021-R88.
We have a motion.
Second.
Seconded. Roll call. Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Box?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Make a motion that resolution 2021-R88 be approved and adopted.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that being said, that passes. All right, at this time, we're finished with our agenda. We'd be looking for any public comments on non-agenda items. Any comments on non-agenda items? Fair enough. At this time, we will move into executive session, discussion for negotiations involving matters of trade or commerce. Council will not reconvene following completion of the executive session. After that, we will be adjourned. Thank you for coming and joining us this evening.
Do we need the motion to move into executive session?
Okay, because I'm misplaced.
Or just the announcement we're going?
The announcement should be good enough.
Good enough? Good enough. Yeah, I'm still learning myself.
Okay.
We do need to go ahead and do a vote to get into executive session.
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.